Welcome to Power Lunch Live, a special edition. The reason it's a special edition is because I've been on vacation for like a month and haven't been doing a show. You know, I'm normally on air about 3 days a week with Power Lunch Live. But, if you've noticed, I haven't been on air for a while. So this is really a special occasion because I'm not scheduled to come back on until August. But I have this group of people that we had to have this conversation. Now, we are broadcasting from a undisclosed location today. People on this panel will get that joke. I want to welcome Rika. It looks like you're online. Laura, you're online. Thank you guys for joining us today and commenting on the page. Now, the point of Power Lunch Live is to have today's thought leaders, best-selling authors, CEOs, corporate people who are doing really amazing work in the world. The panel today is no exception. I've got Dr. Crystal Morrison. I've got Amanda Banks, the one and only. I've got Mandy Morris, Stacy Rask, Jose Ramon Riestra, and I think I've got Colonel Jennifer Opke coming on here in just a second to join us. And today we're talking about the pursuit of celebrity. And is that sort of a necessity in today's sort of, for the modern CEO, the modern business leader? Is it necessary? And what does it really mean? So anyway, that's what we're going to be talking about. That conversation was inspired by a conversation I had last week on another program. And I thought, well, who better to ask than the people that I was just on a reality TV show with called The Social Movement. Now, let's get into it, guys. We've broken every rule today in terms of a panel discussion. This is a really big group. And so, we'll have to manage our answers today and give everybody a chance to speak. But, what does celebrity mean, and what does it mean to you? Now I'm gonna do this in a non-democratic way. I'm gonna go from right to left on my screen. I don't know how it is on yours, but Crystal, for you, what does celebrity mean, and do you there was a reason why you agreed to be on the show. What was it, and why?
So I think at its most basic form, celebrity is readily recognized, and that's doesn't necessarily mean recognized by everyone the world over, but maybe a group of people. So readily recognized, and that could be readily recognized for good or bad reasons, right? Right. For me, in terms of wanting to be on the show, I am a scientist, and I naturally gravitate toward wanting to solve really, really big challenges, and love the idea of bringing people together with lots of different talents to try to tackle those problems. And so that was a big reason why I joined all of you cool kids on 4 Days to Save the World.
Would you have done it on another show? Would you have been on another type of reality show?
I don't know. I mean, I was honestly intrigued by the concept. I mean, I don't think that you're going to find me on Wife Swap or MTV Real World or anything like that. And I'm too old, right? But this particular show spoke to me for the reasons that I mentioned before.
Yeah. Amanda, what was your motivation, and what does celebrity mean to you?
Yeah, celebrity to me just means being known. To just tack on to, Crystal's comment, is just being known, right? That could be for good or for bad, but just in its rarest form is like just being known. The reason that I joined the show is a little bit different, right? Is I'm a brand new entrepreneur, and I just knew that the environment would have a lot of incredible people where they've done some amazing things in this world. And I knew that if I broke out of my comfort zone and made the decision to join, that I would have this unique opportunity to learn from incredible people that have done amazing things already. So that was my motivation to join, was really to just learn and to be surrounded with other people that have made impacts in the way that I want to make an impact in the world.
And do you think you need celebrity to do that?
I don't think that you have to be a celebrity per se to do that, but I do think you have to be known to make an impact. I would like to think being known in a good way, right? For positive intent. But, I do think that it helps for people to be aware of you, and to know that you're out there. And I don't think that it's a negative thing.
Yeah, fair enough. Mandy.
Hey, yeah. So, celebrity. I mean, both Crystal and Amanda have, hit it right on the head with it's. I mean, there's being known. I mean, I think the connotation with celebrity is like there's the fame of it, right? And I think that when you say to become a celebrity, that's something that you really have to check intentions about. And why is that important? I think for all of us here, and myself included, the idea of being known on a bigger platform for me is exhilarating because, and my role is a little bit different than y'all's role in this. I, as official team support therapist there, my role was to help when needed with whatever emotional stuff came up, help with the interviewing, be able to, guide some people into some therapy if that needed to happen. I mean, this was a high stress situation where all of you genius faces got to be teamed up to solve these like really emotional issues. And so for me, it was an honor to be support on such a big platform, because my heart is that I just love seeing people become free, whatever that may look like. And I think that being able to do what I want to do on a bigger platform is just going to impact humanity in a way that I would always hope it could be, and so so I feel like I have a mixed or a complicated relationship with the word celebrity, because of the connotations that go with it. But yeah. Is
it what does it say about us from a clinical standpoint?
Be a little more specific, Rhett.
to really want to be and have a bigger platform. What is that? What is that? Is there?
That's
is that
a good
ego?
question.
What is that? What is it? What
well,
is that?
At the end of the day, if you reduce us down to our neurobiology, we're wired for connection. It's literally in our neurobiology. We want to connect, and we want to belong, and we want to be known. And so, I mean, yeah, to be a celebrity, that's quite enticing on even like a core sort of like organic level. And we want to feel important. These are all like normal human being things. I don't think that there's anything that's like clinically abnormal about it, right? It's just, I mean, especially when you get group of people such as yourselves who are so driven to do the next bigger, greater thing. I mean, it's for our group on 4 Days to Save the World. I feel like that was like, dangling the carrot in front of your face, right? It's like, oh, now I get to level up, because this is what we're always trying to do anyway, more so than like the fame of it. So I don't know if that answered your question or not, but yeah.
Absolutely. No, I mean, Stacey, absolutely. Stacey, what's your take?
So for me, I think about celebrity being influential within culture at this point, having name recognition that's literally affecting our culture to a certain degree, the way that we view celebrity. Now, for people that are entrepreneurs and in our respective industries, it's not a must, but understanding we have an opportunity to elevate our message and our mission and increase the scale and scope of our impact. So people such as Grant Cardone getting on Undercover Billionaire, Mel Robbins having a talk show, or Tony Robbins doing all the things that he has done. we're not necessarily motivated by the pursuit of the celebrity for ego-driven purposes, but to help elevate the message, mission, and impact. And I know that was something for me with my unique story approach, my message, my mission. It was really about elevating access to more people. So to share, to spread that message. And so, the motivation of it is impact driven as opposed to ego driven. And that's why I don't even refer to what we did as a reality show, because people have a connotation of like Kardashians, and so I like understanding that like it's a docu-series. Like this is not about drama and chaos and, Real Housewives of anything. This is really about creating impact today and future generations.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you make that distinction between reality show and docuseries, and that resonates with me a lot. Maybe I need to retool my language here. Thanks for the coaching there.
You're welcome.
Jose, man, what do you think?
All right. Well, I agree with everybody on there, but I have an additional point to build on that, where my role on the show, I was an advisor. I was originally supposed to be a team member like anybody else. And what I brought a little bit differently is my very strange life experience all over the world, and being able to, on the show, bring like, hey, how does this work for somebody in Cusco, Peru, or somebody in Lagos, Nigeria, or wherever? We need to think about how we also impact those people. But building back to your key question about celebrity and CEO, I'm a CEO. But then the question is, celebrity at what level? Is my goal to become a celebrity at a global level? Am I a celebrity to my employees? Am I a celebrity to my customers, to my local communities? It's also advising on what kind of level of celebrity do you want? Because at the end of the day, as CEO, and we can no longer hide in the modern economy behind a company. When you're a CEO or a leader, you have to walk the talk. You have to show in public that you live the values that your company says they do. You need to be able to do so. And if that isn't public and real and true, it doesn't matter what kind of celebrity you can become at any level if you're not walking the talk on the changes that you want to be able to generate. I see it this way. I talk about empowering women. 90% of my organization is women. If I don't empower them, I don't have a business. I better be a damn celebrity for them, going out of my way to empower them, to support them, to be the best they can be. I want to be a celebrity for them. I don't need to be a celebrity for everybody everywhere. I want to make sure that my employees remember me for as long as they live as one of the leaders that helped them reach their potential. So I see celebrity as a very different connotation depending on who and what level we talk about it. We can be an Elon Musk, where every tweet we make can make or lose billions of dollars in markets or in Bitcoin. Or you can be a local celebrity within your community by the good and the walk that you do. So that's where I take it from. I'm not a superstar. I'm not internationally world known or whatever, but I want to be a celebrity to those around me, so that they know they can count on me when they need to.
Yeah, that's really an interesting take, Jose. And I appreciate that very much. Let's make this more of a free for all. I hate this order, and let's bring a little chaos to it. And anybody can answer the question and jump right in, and let's go that way. Is self-promotion, because somebody said to me the other day, well, it's a little arrogant. And I've been taught that self-promotion is bad, and this prompted a really interesting discussion. But what's your take on for a CEO nowadays, and in this sort of business world that we live in, is it necessary to self-promote? just and build your own brand at the same time you're trying to build a company brand? What do you guys' take on that? And because I know that I was always taught not to brag about accomplishment, not to to be modest about winning, be modest about success, but self-promotion seems a little contrary to that sort of voice in our heads that says I've got to be a little more modest and a little more downplay, my success a little bit. What do you guys think?
I'll jump in, Rhett, because that is like something I'm like actively working on within myself. And because I've kind of grown up with a similar belief that, you don't want to appear to be, too arrogant or entitled or whatever it may be. But what I came
right, it's like bragging.
It's like bragging. But what I've come to find is that the only reason for me, I grew up to believe that anyway, is because I was never really taught how to value myself. I was never really taught that it's okay to value yourself, and that I am wired with my own genius, my own uniqueness, my own, services that I can provide and things that I do. And it's okay to promote that. Like, why don't we all promote that all the time, and promote it for each other? And I mean, because now we're highlighting everybody. And so but to do it for yourself is you really learning how to, in my view, and again, I'm like not there yet, but I'm actively working on it. Learning how to belong to yourself, belong to acceptance of who you are and the gifts that you have. And so for me, it's turning off that voice that says, oh, you should probably just play it small, because that doesn't look good anyway, or that's bragging, that's whatever. But the only reason that for me that even that way of thinking was even present is just because I am just now learning how to value myself. I wasn't given that skill early on.
Wow, that's powerful. I had never thought of it like that.
I love that, Mandy. Just pure magic. I absolutely would love to jump in on this because, again, it's something I've worked on myself. I specialize in working with all of my clients because it's about being in that place of high performance leadership and really leading by example. Just thinking about us as the CEOs, where we're always promoting our teams and our corporate culture, and highlighting and celebrating the wins and successes of our team. Why would leadership be any different? And again, it always goes to the motivation. Is this ego driven to highlight, or is this about me paving the way and elevating and inspiring others by showing them what's possible for themselves as leaders, what's possible for my team on their own journeys, and to be part of this bigger mission and vision and purpose. So, as leaders, it's not bragging. It's most of the time being of service to others. And when we don't, we're actually dimming our light and taking away from others by not highlighting and celebrating what's possible.
So I just wanted to jump off of the comment that Stacy made about service to others, because that is so huge. And for my own self, I was the only girl in everything I did from early on, and so I learned real quick that I had to raise my hand and stick my neck out if I was going to get what I want and have a voice on the team, right? And so that stayed with me throughout my professional career, and it was really hard. I had to, raise my hand when I thought that I had the knowledge, skills, and abilities to take on certain leadership roles that I knew I could do. And when I left corporate and went out on my own entrepreneurial journey, it was really hard, not just raising my hand for myself, but not having a team behind me anymore that I was speaking on behalf of. And what I can say is, when you're confident and you're working on your confidence, you know what your knowledge, skills, and abilities are, you have the capacity to lead, and your team, whatever you're working on, is not going to benefit if you don't raise your hand. If you don't say, you know what, I think I have good instincts on what's going on here. Let me step up and speak to this. And it's about serving the bigger team, not just yourself. If you're quiet, if you don't shine your light, the whole team's going to be impacted.
Yeah, I would love to hop in here too. Like you said, a super important word is confidence, and having, self-confidence and knowing that your uniqueness and your background, regardless of what it may be, is so insanely powerful, and you deserve to be there. And so, Jose, when you were talking about, leading, from a team perspective and your definition of celebrity, like even as a mom, like I need to be confident and show my daughter that she belongs at the table, that she can take her unique skills and backgrounds and her unique being, and she can serve and help elevate others. And being confident in that and not bragging or being boastful, like that is being a leader. But we have to demonstrate by example. And so when I made the transition from corporate to launching a company earlier this year, she was homeschooled, and I wanted to give her the confidence that you can do it too. If mom can do it, you can do it. You belong at the table. And so setting by example is just so insanely important.
Sounds to me like you're a celebrity at home, Amanda.
And I'm okay with that. I got some total cool brownie points. My daughter was like, "You rock, Mom. You're going on this show. You're going to save the world in 4 days." And I was like, and that was good enough for me, right? I had this huge revelation, guys, last week. Everything begins with someone believing in you. Mm-hmm. That then transitions into you believing in yourself.
My daughter was absolutely floored that I got to meet Zoe from Zoe's Dolls. Like, she thought that was the greatest thing ever. So Zoe, she's the rock star celebrity there.
And my boys just didn't care. They had nothing, didn't want anything to do with it. So
now, can I ask, while we're here with such a talented group, what do you guys feel in terms of how to separate the celebrity from the persona that we need to have? The celebrity outwards with the business, with the person, with everything that we need to have internally. Because in this modern, as I like to call it, meme economy, you can post something and that changes 10 years down the line, and you're going to be targeted over something that could happen, unfortunately. Now, do people change? Things change? Of course. But how do you guys deal with separating your online presence persona with your lives? Because that's a challenge that many people are going to be running into.
So I would love to add a little bit, because I've been building my personal brand for some time now. So, it really is looking at, okay, what are the boundaries? Now, what I had to realize that it's not about creating a persona. It is about being as real, genuine, authentic, vulnerable as I can be, while still having a little bit of a curtain, right? And just really good boundaries. Boundaries that are, I share a lot, in part because that is my brand, my story, my message. But also, where do I draw the line and keep some things that are sacred and personal for myself? And that's going to be different for everyone, but there's no incongruence. I feel honored when I meet people in person and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're exactly the same as you are online, just better because you're in person." And they get more of the real me, and it get more of just the experience. So that is a huge compliment to me, because I'm not having to play a role. I just get to be me.
Yeah.
I just have the me that I share. And I know where my line and my boundary is as to what I keep personal. There are experiences in my life, even though my husband is inadvertently part of my brand, right? Not every single time we go to the beach or have a date night am I taking a picture and sharing it. Sometimes there's sacred space.
Yeah, I'd love to add on a little bit to that, Stacy, because it's very, very much in alignment with that. And this may not seem like a big deal to y'all, but it was a big deal to me when I remember like 2 years ago when I first started recognizing that I wanted to do bigger things and go bigger. And I was like, okay, I gotta get a social media presence, right? And then I was like, oh no, that means I gotta put myself out there. And there's that like urge to try to like say and do and be all the right things. And I learned quickly on after like all the anxiety that led up to, being vulnerable publicly and putting my own content as a therapist out there and things like that, was that I had to make a deal with myself that if it wasn't genuinely from me, who I am as a person, I couldn't do it. And that the people who are supposed to connect with me will connect with me. And if not, then I don't want it anyway. Like if they decided I wasn't for 4 days to save the world, then that wouldn't have been for me, and really having to trust that, because the urge is to try to control so that you can be the things that you want to be, but that within your own values and your integrity, really staying true to yourself, because if not, you're going to burn out anyway. Like if I can't just be me, quirky at times and whatever, like then I'm not going to be able to sustain that. And I'm much more fulfilled being able to be as authentic and genuine and silly and weird as I am, so yeah, I just wanted to affirm that as well, Stacy.
Mandy, I think that for that, into what Stacy was saying, right? If you're not authentic and you don't have that authentic voice, then people are going to see right through it, right? And you're not going to resonate. You're not going to, you wonder why some people who have fabulous content or maybe have a unique product or take on something, why sometimes it doesn't come through and it doesn't hit, or it's not successful. It's because sometimes maybe it's not authentic, maybe it's not real, maybe it's not, people see, I don't know. I'm just,
here's a fun fact on that, Rhett. So research shows that when you're around someone who feels fake, your blood pressure goes up.
I think I felt that. I can be part of that research.
Wow. That makes, okay. So you know it intuitively. I guess we learn not to tune it out maybe, but
right.
But maybe we get that. Maybe we have these senses that get that. Something to think about.
I love that Stacy mentioned congruency, because that's a big word I have written on my notes, is congruency, because that's a big reason why I made a big professional shift, is because I no longer felt like who I was as a person and a leader and how I led and what I stood for was congruent with the way things operated in reality and different places I worked. And what I'll also add to that, thinking through your personal brand, I think the only way that CEOs and celebrity can be good for both the CEO and the company is if there is congruency between that CEO's personal brand and their actions and the company's mission, vision, and actions. And it's that congruency that really has to be core. And, personal brand is not about being, spit polished all the time. I had a real moment of self-evaluation a couple of years ago when I did a talk, and these, fellow scientists came up to me and they're a little fangirl, like, oh, I admire you so much and you've done all these cool things. And I started to think, am I really being a good role model So I said, yeah, I've done a lot of stuff that's really awesome. But guess what? I put toothpaste in my hair this morning instead of hair gel, right? Like straight up, I ran into a wall when I was walking my dog. Like that's real life. And I'm really honest about that kind of stuff because I don't want people to think that, I've done all this stuff and I'm perfect and I've got everything together, because I don't, right? And I think it's not only congruency, but it's also transparency and letting people know that I don't always have it right, that I don't always make the right decisions as a leader, that I'm going to be authentic, that I'm going to take responsibility for the things that I screw up, right? And for me, that moment when those ladies said, "Oh my gosh, I wish you could have seen their faces when I told them, I ran into a wall and hair gel. It's like, oh, you're real. Yeah, I'm real.
Well, I've been super vocal about this. So I was terrified of being on camera, like absolutely terrified of being on camera. My background is I was an athlete, and in gymnastics, everything is about perfectionism. Like you're always growing towards perfectionism. And so throughout my adult life, I've been terrified of being on camera. And my husband gave me the confidence to make the decision, right? I believe in you, to go to the show and get over that fear of camera. But I've thought a lot about that, about how, when you see people on film sometimes, especially, celebrities and on camera, there's a lot of work that goes into that to actually get people ready to be on film. I took a picture and I was like, this took 2 hours. So like from a perfectionism standpoint, you don't have to have makeup on and have your hair done. Like if you have a message to bring to the world and have the ability to change the life of just one person, isn't it worth it? It doesn't have to be perfect, right? But it has the ability to change the life of that one person, then it deserves to be out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, Amanda. And Jose, what do you think, man? You asked the question.
Yeah, I come back to what type of celebrity. Do you want to be Instagram celebrity, which is these days everybody's just doing the dumbest thing possible to be a celebrity on TikTok or Instagram or whichever, just try to get that immediate attention for that self-gratification. If that's why you want to be a celebrity, you know what? Go do stupid things on TikTok. If that's the easy way some people want to take, because in the meme economy, guess what? That's what you will be remembered for. The guy who went and got in a fight with Floyd Mayweather, right? Has he really done anything else that warrants a celebrity of doing something positive? Hey, there's people out there who want to be celebrities just because of the money, the attention to this. Good for them. That is not the type of celebrity that I think we've all been very vocal that any of us want to be. We all want to be known for doing positive things, helping those around us, creating projects, systems, and companies that will change the world and change people's lives. Like Dr. Crystal says, every time somebody says, "Oh my God, your hair looks great," I'm like, check out over here. Here's the patch where it's gone, right? Or whatever. It's the humanization of a celebrity is where you realize, oh my God, they're just normal people. I've had the chance to meet a few here and there, or I used to be an athlete as well. I met a few, and you realize, oh my God, he gets injured the same way. We can have the same conversations. They're human beings. But as long as the true value as to why they're doing it and why they're there is pure, it's honest, and it's pretty straightforward, that's a kind of celebrity I want to support. I'll be frank, I don't like the Kardashians because they're plastic, they're fake. Nobody can watch a show and learn anything other than how to do some fake stuff. But if they had, let's say, our show, my dream is for our show to turn into a worldwide phenomenon that creates real change and real companies all over the world, whether it's affecting small communities or a grand scale. That's what I want out of it. I don't want to be celebrity for any other reason than creating positive change, because I walk the talk. I do what I say. And like Dr. Crystal was mentioning, we're all human. We all do weird stuff. I post, oh, here, I'm walking the dog. How often do we see these things happen, right? So it's over really, in my point of view, how do we differentiate what kind of celebrity we want to be and make sure that we live up to it? And then I guess depending on the viewers is it a corporate celebrity, a personal celebrity? Because it's a very different story that you're trying to build if you're on your own and you're building a celebrity to also build your brand, your company, your opportunities. Or if you're in the corporate world, then you need to become a celebrity under your expertise so you open up more professional opportunities. And these days you see it on LinkedIn all day. Hey, I left Adidas after so many years. Here's a photo. And Adidas forwards it, and everybody's saying it's almost creating like a celebrity of the person. And the question is, how far would social media let us take it? And how dangerous this is going to become in the long-term future for our youth, that my 2-year-old knows how to use a phone and Apple TV. How soon until she's asking me, I want to post pictures? And who knows where it goes? So it becomes a dangerous discussion over how we present celebrity to the future leaders that we're educating today.
I think I'm glad you went there, because that actually, to me, is a great segue to the next question I wanted to ask. I want to say hi to Jim. Jim, thanks for joining us. Jim is the one that kind of prompted this conversation. He and I had a LinkedIn Live last week where he really drilled down on these questions, and I'm really asking today. And Jim, welcome, man.
Yeah, Rod, thanks. It's great to be here, and thank you all for continuing the conversation. It's been great. And also want to do a quick shout out to everybody who commented on the post yesterday. I thought we had a great conversation there. There were some really cool points that were brought up and shared, and I think it's great that we're continuing to explore this pretty important topic.
Well, I may turn it over to you to ask some of those questions here in just a second, but I have one more for you guys. And Jim, if you want to jump in and ask us some questions, I'd love to do that, because you're a longtime host and question asker, and yeah, are probably much better at this than I am. But so the question is sort of going where you were going, Jose, about how does this all play out? How do we leverage what we just did for our own brands and for our own voice, and to elevate what we do individually as business people and coaches and consultants, and I mean, how do we leverage this, and how do you see yourself leveraging what we just did, and whether it turns us into stars or not, celebrities or not, that's still up in the air. But how do you plan to leverage it? Anybody?
So I'll jump in because really, like, leveraging it has very little to do about myself at all. Like, my goal and intention with everybody that was on the show is to help elevate them. And there are some amazing people that have done some incredible things, but the reality is that everybody has dreams and passions and things that they're working towards. And so really, like, it's how do we help our people? How do we help elevate them to where they really want to go and the impact that they're looking to make? So, yeah, I don't know if that was the answer, Rhett, that you were looking for, but like, really, it has very little to do about me and everything to do with how can I help other people.
That doesn't elevate Amanda and DeBanks?
Well, I mean, in the process, I'm sure it will, right? Because we'll have the opportunity to partner with some incredible people and work on some amazing projects. But, if I'm not wired to look at this experience from how is it going to impact me, right? It's like, how is it going to impact everybody around me? And how can I leverage this to help, my daughter and her friend understand that it's not about likes and TikToks and all of these other things? And how can I help, my friends develop relationships where they can help make an impact? Like, I really, truly believe that by partnering with people on the show and helping elevate everybody, that gets everybody from point A to point B.
Yeah, I'll jump in, Amanda, because mine's very similar to that. In terms of, like, when you asked the question just then, Rhett, like, how do we leverage that? I'm like, that's what we're doing right now, right here on this live, is a way that we're leveraging the fact that we're coming together from all of our different backgrounds and experiences, you know, and we've gone through this wild ride of being on this high stress show for days where there's these like bonds that wouldn't have happened unless you had been put in that environment. And, you know, and at least for me, one of the things that I love so much about this show is seeing everybody's hearts. Like one of my gifts, I feel like, is being able to see people for who they really are, and like in celebrating that. And so, like, I mean, even something as simple as going to Tennessee and us like putting on an event together now, because now we're unifying our geniuses. You know, we're helping humanity on a greater scale, and that is leveraging it. I think the other part for me, and how does it leverage myself? Like, I'll be completely honest. There was one point at the show, and I think it was day 3, where like some of the welcome messages were happening. And one of the executive producers was like, "Hey, Mandy, you're about to go on in like 60 seconds and say something about how everyone's frustrated and triggered. And you're going to talk into the camera." And I'm like, oh my God, like my worst fear is coming true. I have to actually like just be on camera and say something, because I'm like super comfortable behind the scenes with all this stuff. I kid you not, my legs, I've never had such an involuntary response of my legs shaking. And like to the point where I was like swaying back and forth just so no one would notice. And then I got in front of the camera and I was completely calm. And I loved it. And I spoke from my heart. I don't remember what I said. I guess we'll all find out in a few months what I said, but I said something. But for me, it leveraged the fact that I can go bigger than I thought I could go. Like, I can now take these ideas that I wish could come true and have more of the confidence to do it. Because now I've conquered that next fear, right? I've pushed through that barrier. And so it was more of like an internal leveraging for me that gave me, you know, affirmation that I can continue to move in these bigger platform directions for wanting to help people, as well as, you know, building connections and communities with everyone who is there.
I really like the point Amanda built up on, because, for example, the way I like to live my friendships and my life is, if my friends are successful and I can help them be successful, I'm going to be successful. If that's how I see the show. It's like we say in Spanish, es a palanca. It's how we're going to leverage how we all support each other, the real human connections that were made to elevate each other when needed. When, hey, maybe I need help this week, I have this situation. Hey, I'm going to get some of you on the call. Let's figure out if I can resolve this, because it can make a palpable difference. Or being able to create these new relationships that support each other to be more successful is already in itself. So when we look at celebrities that everybody loves, with a few haters, almost all of them do something for others. LeBron James, open schools, has uplifted tens of thousands of kids probably into college. Tom Hanks, any director or actor out there that brings people that aren't in the industry along with them to give them opportunities to get on. All those people, if you look over and over and over, they're virtually loved celebrities, regardless of what they do, because they uplift others around them. And everybody always looks at celebrities, who I will not name, that tick off people, is basically all about themselves and the enlargement of the self rather than those around them in the community and giving opportunities. And yeah, they're still making their money, but nobody really goes out of their way to be like, wow, this person is really making a difference, because it's really all about themselves. And that makes a huge difference in how we were talking, our youth, our preparation, even ourselves, on how we present ourselves. So,
yeah.
And just like Oprah, you know, and you get a car, and you get a car. So I mean, I am in 100% agreement of what everyone has shared, right? About it being so much about the community aspect to this, right? How I always say this community math where, you have two people come together that are in complete alignment and authenticity, and it's like 1 + 1 = 7. You bring all of us together, and what is able to come out of it is just absolutely powerful and beyond measure, because it's amplified at such an exponential rate. Now, on the personal side for me, because of what I do and what I teach as a mentor and coach and speaker and author, it is very much in the lead by example. So for me to be in integrity, literally every single thing that I'm doing is about showing what's possible to others. So it is in being of service, and it's very focused on how can I allow these things to happen in my life to pave the way for the people that are coming along on the journey with me. So, allowing the invitation to come to me, allowing the process to be effortless, the experience to be effortless, to be filled with fun and joy and freedom and connection. Again, it's living and leading by example, top to bottom, inside and out, and allowing every single one of these experiences to reinforce how far I've come on my own journey to continue taking these steps to create bigger impact and elevate influence for the things that I'm passionate about and the people that I'm connected to now, like all of you are passionate about.
Thank you, Stacey. Jim, I'm going to give you the stage for a second. Do you have questions for us?
Well, a couple of observations. Okay, it seems like we moved a little bit away from celebrity per se and its impact on, business and whether it's a good idea or not, and kind of into some other things that I think are equally important. Rhett, that I write a ton. I've written a half a dozen books. I've got at least 500 articles out there, and I write about authenticity. I write about decency. I write a lot about culture transformation. How do we change the way we behave, not only individually, but as a group? And I've made a good living with that, right? I've been doing it for 30 years or so. The thing that intrigued me about the question when you and I first took it on in my podcast was celebrity by definition is the pursuit of getting people who we don't even know to recognize us. And regardless of the motivation, if it's attention, we want people paying attention to us, we want to make money, we want to do good, we want to do bad, whatever our intention is, we're using the pursuit of celebrity as a strategy for achieving that end. And my question, kind of the center of it is that okay? Because it presumes if we're a celebrity that wants to use our quote unquote celebrity to achieve whatever it is we're trying to achieve, be it good or bad, money or not, we're assuming that we can manipulate people to actually care about us enough to follow us, to approve of us, what have you, to buy our stuff. So that was kind of the center of that question, was trying to explore that kind of thing. And the question was really around, is that okay? And I think you and I, in our conversation last week, we landed on, yeah, it's good for business. Generally speaking, we kind of landed there. It's good for business. Is it still a good thing? Is it a legit thing? Are we legitimate in trying to pursue celebrity to manipulate people to gain something, whatever it is we want to gain? And that's kind of the question that I'd like to hear the panelists explore. It sounds like you guys went through some really a really cool experience, you feel like you've done something really good for the world, I think that's great. I haven't seen the show, but from what Red tells me, it sounds like it's going to be terrific. And my question is it cool to use celebrity as a way to be sort of a means to an end?
So, Jim, one of the things that I mentioned earlier, and I believe strongly in this, that CEO celebrity is only good for the CEO and the business if, again, it's congruent, if the personal brand and the actions of the CEO are congruent with the mission, vision, and actions of the company. I think it's only in that scenario that celebrity CEO benefits the business. That's definitely my perspective. I can give you a lot of examples where I, personally know some CEOs of startups, small companies, medium-sized companies, massive corporations, where what they believe in, how they behave, is absolutely not congruent with some of the things that they're promoting in their business, like diversity, equity, and inclusion, or sustainability. And that's, I think, when you get into real problems, when that CEO hasn't necessarily developed a brand, or everyone around them knows that they actually don't live in a certain way that's congruent with what their company is trying to promote. And I think that's where you get into the real danger zone.
Yeah, and to sort of summarize what I think you said, Crystal, it's the notion of alignment. If it's aligned right and the purpose is good, then it's okay.
Yeah, if the CEO's, again, personal brand actions are aligned with the mission, vision, and actions of the company, then I think it makes a lot of sense. It can be mutually beneficial for the company and the CEO.
Sure.
And to kind of add on to that, Crystal, I mean, because it could not be aligned and it could work, but that's not sustainable long term. That's more of instant gratification, CEO business stuff, right? And in terms of, I seem to really gravitate to the word manipulation that you use, which is a good word to use. And that when, manipulation, that's, to bend or to change or to, which isn't necessarily a good or a bad thing. And when you are, like you were saying, staying congruent, I just say you're staying true to who you are and the purpose and the vision for what you have, then if that ends up changing the way people think to then gravitate towards you, awesome. Now, if you're not staying authentic with who you are and you're doing things that, I think of like the show Billions, like you're doing all this like shady stuff to try to, make certain ends meet here and there, then that sort of manipulation, is, again, is only going to be to you and the company's detriment down the road anyway. So that's my 2 cents.
And you're also not creating. With Courageous, with our company, we talk a lot about building believership, right, within the company. And you're not going to build. You may succeed that way. You may succeed and operate well and be successful, but you're not going to create that believership and that culture that I want, from my perspective, that I want to build in my company, right? And I want it, the companies that I work with, I don't want to work with companies where there's not that congruency, because I'm not going to be able to help them build the culture and the believership within that company if those things are not aligned. And so if that culture is not aligned with actions and the belief system, frankly. So I think that, I don't know if that answers the question, but I think that that's a really important, those things have to be aligned in order to, for it to be the kind of company I want to be involved in or would want to work for, frankly. And, I think that, and I also think to a larger point, people are leaving companies today for that very reason. It's not often about money, right? It's often about the culture in that those values lining up. And I think that's something we're seeing a lot of now with all this back to work and as things open back up after COVID, people have some choices and they're making some life choices. So anyway, that's another soapbox. But
I wanted to build on Jim's question because I don't see how being a celebrity CEO, building off the original question, is any different from doing marketing already. It's frankly, it doesn't differentiate from hiring any celebrity to be your spokesperson for the brand, because you're still taking all of their baggage when you hire them with you. So you better go and find celebrities that match your culture, your values, your mission statement, and everything for it. So I don't see that there's any difference about a CEO doing it than a company hiring anybody else to do it. Frankly, I want the CEO to do it because the CEO has to be the face, the hands, the eyes, the vision of what the company needs to look like externally. And just like Dr. Crystal, I've seen a lot of hypocrisy in the corporate world, that the companies at the very top don't match the values they take, and every type of value that they claim to have, they don't have at the bottom. They just show it out just enough so that the public sees. Just like it's so ridiculous to see things like, I'll give you a good one. UEFA putting the whole pride thing right now and not allowing Munich to have the Alliance Arena with the rainbow flag because, God forbid, Viktor Orban in Hungary is going to get upset. Well, too bad. UEFA insulted their own values, their own employees, and their own fans because they couldn't live up to it. And that is a fault of their own celebrity as a brand. And that is something extremely true. They claim to live values that they immediately flipped around just to protect a political position. So just like we see right now, what's going on politically, companies that supported certain people are being targeted over, you need to pull support away. And now, thanks to the internet, you can't hide. You can't hide a lot of these things. So if CEOs have to be celebrities, we need to be the celebrities we want our employees to follow. We need to be the celebrities we want the public to understand that we are. Because like we've said from the very beginning, people will find out it's BS sooner or later. And when they do, the fall from grace is very, very fast and very hard.
there's hell to pay when you don't. Guys, I hate to do this. I have a hard stop because I have to get on a plane to go to Nashville to join Amanda and Mandy tomorrow at our live event in Nashville, Tennessee. We're going to have some fun tomorrow. You can follow me on LinkedIn and find out more about that. There's an Eventbrite page, or whatever it's called. You can find that link on my LinkedIn page. So please join us if you're listening to this today. I want to thank all of you guys for being here. We could probably go on another hour and with this discussion. Jim, thank you for sort of starting this discussion last week. And let's continue it. I need to individually have all of you on this program and dive into what you do. So we're going to make that happen. In the meantime, have a great rest of the summer. I'll see you guys in August. And you can check out the upcoming schedule, although I don't think the page has been updated for a bit, at powerlunch.live. Powerlunch.live. You can find that upcoming schedule for August. And hey, thank you so much. This has been fun, been enlightening, and I'll see some of you tomorrow in Nashville. And anyway, have a great rest of your day, and we'll join me back in August for Power Lunch Live. Thanks.